Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, for being present. It's an honor to be part of this community, to create and co-create space with you. My name is Daniel Gutierrez Mena, and I also go by Daniel Quillao. It's a name that I adopted through my liberation decolonial practice. My health journey began sometime when I was 5 or 6, around the table when my mom and grandma were talking about food. My grandma had just been diagnosed with diabetes. She had to revamp everything about our food and nutrition at home. That was the first time that I heard the phrase, let your food be your medicine. Mm-hmm. And that was the foundation for what became an interest for me. I have become a disciple of wellness since then, adopting the needs of my family and the curiosities of my mind. After moving from Peru directly to Humboldt Park, Chicago, we spent countless days exploring the medical system with my grandma. We explored all the needs and lacks that our healthcare system had. And I allowed that to become an inspiration for what I wanted to pursue in the future. The medication and the food were both part of my grandmother's and now my mom's routine. And I wanted to explore that a little bit deeper. I have held positions taking care of health counseling, clinical research, medical interpreting, and working with health tech companies with the intention of scaling access to healthcare to different populations, especially those underserved populations in different parts of the US and Chicago. Through my experience working in the field, I realized that even though we created guidelines that allow us to understand our physical wellness and nutrition, these guidelines were not coming across to our folks that were not regulated in the nervous system, who did not have the means to make conscious efforts to create those changes in nutrition, in physical anatomy. And even those guidelines were also pervaded by Western thinking that did not really align with the rest of the world. I realized that in my training, what we were looking for was community health, and it was mental wellness and behavioral change. I remember one of my experiences in college included, and this is one of the most memorable classes, a professor asking, what is wellness? And we were trying to go around the definition of it's being disease-free, and not really getting to the point that you could still be disease-free and not be well. This was that opportunity that allowed me to understand what I have carried over since I touched with that moment. It allowed me to carry over the philosophy of the 7 dimensions of wellness. It's a topic that I continue adding on through my own experience, through my own self-inquiry, and it's something I would like to present to you today. Taking a look at your handouts, you'll see the 7 dimensions of wellness. And I'd like you to start from the bottom, looking at environmental as the foundation, all the way up to spiritual. I decided to organize these 7 dimensions in a range of what in the chakra system has been considered the current of manifested traveling up to a liberated form. A manifested form can be solidified, sedimented. A liberated form is everywhere. It's intangible. So we'll go ahead and revisit each of these. You'll find some familiarities with your experience. And we'll start with a primary definition of what each of these could mean in the clinical sense, while adding little by little some intangible ideas of how do we integrate wellness in a holistic way in philosophy so that it could really resonate with our minds and spirits. So starting from the bottom, looking at environmental wellness, this is wellness related to stability and connection to the earth. You can think of environmental wellness as what the space in your house may look like as you organize it, as you clean it, considering that the house that you live in is a reflection of the mind. Considering that the spaces that you walk into are a reflection of your state of being, but still holding on to this sedimented view of environmental wellness, we explore the definition of the house and nature around us. In an environmental way, environmental wellness focuses on external surroundings that influence our internal well-being. In considering that environmental invokes the spirit of nature, it's important to understand that nature depends on an ecosystem. It's not just one little part that does all the work, it is everything around it. It is the ecosystem of Chicago that thrives through its diversity, as well as it is the ecosystem inside of you that thrives through the diversity of your nutrition, something that we'll take on in just a couple more steps. This includes our living and workspaces, as well as our relationships with nature. So we do try to decorate our spaces with plants and sacred elements like fire and water, things that remind us of where we come from. Your environment is then the material reality surrounding you. It's the atmosphere, it's the seasons, the air you breathe. It is the living bacteria around you. It is what your stomach is able to take in to colonize itself with what is around you. Through my time working with cystic fibrosis patients, a very notable story of a patient reminded me how the ecosystem shapes your health when a patient tried everything, and after moving to Thailand, they healed some of their symptoms. They thought it was the coconut, and maybe it was the coconuts that they were having, but also perhaps it was all the nature around them, all that diversity, allowing them to become whole again. Respecting the space you inhabit and improving its quality does create a practice of reciprocity. And reciprocity does invoke a philosophy that comes from indigenous thinking, of not just taking from the space around you, from the nature around you, but also giving back to it. And it does relate to how do we create changes in our economic systems to allow for sustainability. That is also environmental wellness. So it could be spending time at the park, going on a hike, but it also invokes making sure that the products that are sustainable, that they help with the ecosystem outside. And so your overall health can be impacted by establishing a healthy relationship with your home and the land it is on. A good way to balance this dimension of wellness is to create a clean and organized space and spending time in natural environments, practicing sustainable habits. I invite you to close your eyes and tune in with your internal body. We'll go over just a couple of questions and feeling what your body feels like as you deeply listen to the space around you. And as you listen to the inner wisdom in your body, visualize yourself through these prompts. When you visualize yourself feeling at peace, where do you feel most at peace in your environment? Allow that visualization to enter your mind in a dream manner. You can create any visual that allows you to really tap into this idea. How can you improve your connection to nature? Where does your mind take you? These answers maybe don't have any words, maybe it's just visuals, maybe they're auditory. Just let it influence you.